Alright, spawning here at the bottom left, we have our blue Zerg from the Kwangdong Freaks. And hailing from Korea is ARMANI.
And from the team of Good Game Gaming, we have the red Terran player. It is Dream. And what do we have here? It looks like Dream is going to go for a Proxy 2 Rax, which is going to get scouted out by ARMANI. So, wow. Looks like we have a good idea of how this game is going to go. Immediately, looks like 5 drones are going to be pulled off the line. I learned so much from these games, Snoopy. Like, I would never have known, you know, if I didn't watch pro replays or pro games, I would have no clue how to respond to this, and I would probably pull like 10 drones.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about, you know, being a caster sometimes. You know, you get to have access to replays and, you know, watch games where you can see the counter to certain builds or cheeses.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. So I think the drones are going to stay for a little bit. Yeah, okay, so I think that what ARMANI was trying to do was to force the Marines to spawn behind the barracks. You know, that way they're not exposed to the drones. Yeah, so it's going to force the liftoff temporarily on one of the barracks. It's going to delay the push just a little bit longer. But already 8 Lings are on the way. More drones are going to be pulled off the line and sent to the low ground. So this should be more than enough to stop the SCV from building that bunker. Yeah, it looks like it will get canceled. A couple of drones have gone down. A couple of bunkers are going to be started up as well. But Lings should be popping right about now, and yeah, 3 Marines, you know, nothing to scoff at, but they're also not the biggest force, so now drones are going to be pulled off the line once again. This is... some Lings are going down. Oh wow, look at that.
Oh man, if you can get that SCV there.
Oh no, wait. Oh! Okay, so the second SCV does finish that first bunker. Queen is out, but a lot of drones and a lot of Lings have already fallen. How does this game look to you? I feel like ARMANI just barely did something wrong. I can't really tell what. Maybe he left the Lings chasing the Marines for too long.
Well, during the kind of the drone pool, he actually kind of had them not fighting. So that SCV was able to build that bunker. So the bunker went up, and at that point, if the bunker goes up, and it's kind of like it's really difficult at that point. So he kind of screwed up the micro there. Unfortunate.
Sometimes things can just happen so quickly. Other times it takes a while for things to happen in StarCraft. And that's kind of the beauty of it. You get to see all sorts of scenarios, even within the same matchup, even against the same players, you know. Hopefully we get to see something else come out in game number 2, but Dream is going to take this game. So what is the goal for Zerg when you're defending against that sort of proxy racks? Like, you've got Marines already out, you've got a bunker on, you know, on the way. Do you, leave a few drones to target that SCV and then have the rest of your drones join the Lings against the Marines?
Well, I think to start off, just trying to delay the push is a good start. I mean, he did scout it early. He was able to pull the 5 drones and, you know, make sure that, you know, like you said, the Marines were spawning behind the barracks, which meant that you would have to lift it up the barracks and then walk out. But yeah, you just want to delay the bunker from getting up, and then after that, you need to make enough Lings and wait for your Queen to pop out, and then at that point, you can pull some drones, your Lings and your Queens, and then just make sure that those at least, you know, the SCV's bunker building the bunker is, you know, targeted to make sure that the bunker doesn't go up. So yeah.
So you don't have to go for the kill on the Marines. You could just like make sure that you don't take too much damage from them, but the key is to not let the bunker get up.
Right. So you just want to maybe send some units to at least distract the Marine, or not distract, but fight the Marines so that they're cutting backwards. That leaves the SCV building bunker vulnerable, and then you just gotta make sure
Right.
you target fire on that SCV. And sometimes that happens where, during the chaos of the fight, the Zerg forgets to target fire on the SCV, and then the SCV just builds up the bunker. And then at that point, you got a bunker right in front of your hatchery, and then
Hatch.
once the Marines get into that bunker, it's just so much difficult.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it looks like Armani is not going to have to deal with that in this game. His opponent did go for the low ground command center before the reactor. Excuse me, not before the reactor, before the barracks. So he is going to get his economy a little bit, quicker. Whereas he is also transitioning into this sort of 2 racks build. I think that he's probably going to put it. Yep, we do have that tech lab, probably for Stim later on. Could be for something else as well, but yep. Oh, scouting wing. Man, look at that blood spatter. Kind of gruesome.
That's a lot of blood for one wing.
Yeah. It's a hazard, You should probably assign one of the Marines to mop it up or something. You don't want your Hellion slipping down the ramp.
Yeah. Well, I guess with the Hellions, actually, it would slide more. Kind of like when they slide on ice.
Right. Probably help them, right? They just use their flamethrower as propulsion. They don't have to drive anymore. Oh, look at that. Isn't that kind of a... Well, I guess that Baneling nest is like a little early. It's not that early, though. I thought it was going to be for a Bane bust. But it's already like almost 4:30, so...
Wow. These guys are about to cross paths, just barely.
Oh, wow. Good reaction time on the Lings, pulling back before the Hellions can get a shot off. Oh, look at that pre-split, too. On both sides, actually. Very cute micro. So Armani, obviously, his goal is to delay whatever is coming over to his side of the map. Which it looks like it's going to be a double drop plus some Hellions.
Alright, so it looks like Armani's just relying on his links for the counterattack. Trying to get pick off some reinforcements as well, possibly. While the Roaches back at home will defend along with the Queens. But however, since the ramp is closed, looks like Armani is going to use those links here to get this around.
What do you think of that trade? I feel like maybe Dream wanted to get some more economic damage done. He lost those 2 medevacs, and from that point on, the rest of the Marines and the Hellions also went down. But, for all of that and only getting how many Queens? Like maybe 3 Queens were lost. I'm not sure if that was the best trade for the Terran.
Yeah, I mean, Armani just really defended that cleanly. Did not lose a single drone to that. Did not lose any hatcheries. Queens, yeah, he lost a couple, but they're just minerals, so it's alright. And at this point, you know what? Armani can feel very confident and safe in just droning up like crazy, spreading that creep, and knowing that there's really not a lot that Dream can do about it.
Yeah. Oh, but that's why Dream is looking to do some damage with this follow-up push. Maybe catch his Zerg opponent off guard. Or at the very least, try to clear out some creep. Looks like he will load up one of those medevacs. Try to set up for a drop in the future.
Yeah, it looks like it's going down to the bottom left side. There are going to be some Overlords here. Great Overlord placement, by the way, by Armani. We'll be able to scout any incoming drops.
Looks like Lings are already in location, ready to defend against this. Queen gonna start working on the medevac, force it back again. So Dream is getting into that phase of the game where he just wants to be dropping in multiple locations at the same time, trying to catch the Zerg off guard. Now, I do find Armani's choice of tech kind of interesting. He's starting the game with Roach Ravager, but he's going into... Oh! The Ravager actually eating its own biles and going down literally to 1 health.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, but look at that. Look at this very cute drop micro taking care of the queen before the medevac can be killed off. So, really, this is just a micro battle between both players. But yeah, as I was saying, so we see the first army that's really out is Roach Ravager, but we also see that Spire just now finishing. So, and we also see the +1 melee upgrade being queued up for Armani. So I feel like Armani might be using the Roach Ravager to transition into Mutaling Bane, something like that. But look at that, he's got a lot to deal with, multiple drops in multiple locations, not dealing a whole lot in terms of economic damage once again. So Armani is on top of his Ling placements. But yeah, this is maybe not quite the damage that Dream is looking for.
Yeah, now with the Mutalisk out, this drop will finally be shut down, and you know, that's one of the advantages of getting Mutalisk. You have the anti-air to take down those Metarax and don't have to deal with those pesky, annoying drops.
Yeah, definitely. Now, on the other hand, we do see Dream really just powering up. He's got more production facilities. He's producing 2 ghosts. Wow, look at that. 2 ghosts already at a time. He's got a couple of command centers on the way. So both players are really looking to take this, you know, past the mid-game phase, I would say.
Yeah, and that tends to happen on this map. Again, this map does have great bases in terms of being able to take the, you know, initial, you know, 3-4 bases, but even 5 bases on this specific map. And it looks like Dream is getting ready to do so, as well as Armani. Armani has taken his initial 5 bases that are pretty easy to establish, and we should be headed into a longer match here.
Yeah, it looks like both players are getting +2. We do see some Thors on the production tab as well. An Infestation Pit. These mutas are not getting too much done. So they're just sort of, you know, keeping tabs on the Terran army, making sure that there isn't some sort of quick move out, making sure that the Terran is on their toes back at home. Yeah, this is going to be interesting because the Zerg is just about to max out. And so when the Zerg maxes out on this kind of army, they usually want to try to get some damage done. They're kind of put, in a way, you could consider them being put on a little bit of a timer. Because once the... Oh, look at that Widowmine hit. Once the Zerg... Excuse me, once the Terran is able to max out, then their army actually becomes much more powerful than this sort of weaker mid-tier Zerg army. So Armani, not army, sorry. Armani's army just sort of taking map control, trying to see what damage it can do, which is not much.
Yeah, I mean, Ling, Banelings, and Mutalisks, you can actually really stay on them for quite some time. But yeah, at a certain point, like you said, you gotta start adding different units, more higher tier units, maybe Infestors or Broodlords or Ultralisks or something besides just, you know, Lings, Mutalisks, and Banelings.
Right. Yeah, the nice thing is he does still have a decent amount of Ravagers, being able to take care of those Widowmines, get some extra value out of them. But yeah, it's up to Armani's discretion what tech he decides to go into once this high finishes up. I feel like, I don't know, I kind of favor Broodlords personally. I know that they're pretty slow and they're pretty vulnerable to things like snipes and whatnot, but I don't know, I kind of like them. Now, these Lings and Banes are going to try to get some damage done from the bottom side, whereas up north, the Mutas are going to come into the pocket base, getting a good amount of damage done. Oh man, there were, for a minute, it looked like there were like 50 lines just targeting the Mutas. Half of them being Widowmines and the other half being Ghost Snipes. That was amazing.
Oh my goodness. Poor Mutalisks.
Wow. Yeah, look at them, so low on health. Oh, wow. Yeah, these ghosts. How much energy does a snipe cost? I think it's, what, like 50?
Like I said, I don't play Terran, so I have no idea.
Right.
But yeah, I think maybe like 50 or 75.
Yeah. Okay, so it looks like the follow-up tech of choice for the Zerg is going to be Ultras, whereas his opponent is continuing to, you know, bank up that bio count as well as going into a bit more of a mech style, which is, of course, is the Terran endgame. You've got those tanks, you've got those Thors, that sort of unit. Oh, look at that! A huge Ling run by. Oh, it's gonna start working on the natural. Is it actually going to get a lot done? Look at that, a lot of those natural SUVs are going down. At the same time, the 5th base was taken care of by the Ravager Muta. So, both players really just sort of trading out. All these Mutas! Oh!
Oh my goodness.
Wow. Yeah, I think that's the end of that.
Yeah, very inefficient trade there by Armani. He did get, you know, the base. Got a lot of workers as well, but what does he have for this potential counter here? With how many, let's see here, how many Thors? 1 Thor, but 30 Marines and 12 with Ghosts.
Oh, wow. Yeah, 12 Ghosts can certainly do a number on a lot of those beefy late game units. Oh, look at that. So the Lings are going to try to wrap around from the back. They're going to start working on a couple of these Ghosts, but not quite enough. Looks like Dream is comfortable enough to keep splitting his bio in this sort of center area where it's pretty wide open, but there is no creep, so that is one benefit to the Terran's advantage.
Yeah, at this point though, Armani, he really needs to buy some time because the army supply is just way ahead for Dream. I mean, Armani really just like sacked a lot of units for that CC and a couple of workers. So, you know, he has the Ultralisk then. He does have the Great Aspire, so yeah, all he needs to do is buy enough time to remax here, and it looks like Dream is going to let him remax.
Okay, another Ling run by. It is going to get pushed back. I love this sort of Sim City setup that Dream has. He's got a couple of extra orbitals over in the front of the natural, but at the same time, a little bit of a drop is going to take care of some drones, but not before the Corruptors come in to clean that drop up. Oh, that single Marine. Wow, look at how many Queen hits it was able to take. Because Queens really do have low DPS. Yeah, another cancel on another hatch over in the north. But in terms of tempo, I have to say, I think that Dream is the one who is coming out ahead. What do you think?
I mean, he is definitely putting on the pressure. I mean, he's dropping, you know, left, right, and center, and he's able to scout this Ling run by ahead of time. And so, yeah, he's doing a pretty good job surviving for the time being. Well, I guess I wouldn't say surviving. I mean, he was ahead in the army by a lot, so I guess he wasn't technically surviving, but in terms of rebouncing from all the lost SCVs and the... oh, I just noticed the investors there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could come into play during the fight. This is a great positioning because you normally wouldn't scan there. And there's no creep as well. So, you know, the idea is you want to burrow your units outside of the creep. And as well as the edge of the creep, because that's where the Terran players usually scan to take out the creep tumor.
Right. That makes sense. And it's always a good rule of thumb to, if you're trying to get a surprise fungal or really a surprise spell of any sort, you want to be able to keep them separate from the main army. Oh my gosh, look at those infestors. Literally underneath the Terrans' noses. A lot of scans going down, a lot of action on the map. We've got another double drop taking care of the bottom left-hand base as well. Look at that, actually pulling Armani's entire army back. So it's going to give Dream another opening to the northeast corner of the map as well, taking care of getting a kill on that hatch as well, getting 2 hatch kills. So this is some really, really good pressure being put on by our Terran player. Those 3 infestors did unburrow and they did get some good fungals off, but they are not good enough. Those ghosts have too much health. they were able to snipe down a bunch of Banelings and a bunch of Corruptors, as well as the Infestors themselves. So overall, Armani, again, he's got that huge bank. He will be able to remax pretty quickly. Look at that. He's getting 10 Broodlords and 6 Infestors, but it's just not, you know, he's not trading efficiently. So there is a win condition for both players here.
Yeah, and funny enough, looks like the hatchery will be built here at the, I guess, say Terran side of the base.
Yeah. Oh, that Ling Bane, kind of ambitious. I don't know if you can contest that going up a ramp. Probably just buying time for the Broodlords.
Yeah, looks like the scan will catch eye on the Broodlords. So I guess, you know, I mean, Dream, he was making ghosts ahead of time. So gonna have plenty of energy to do those snipes. And I believe, how many doors is that? Only one door, but I think the ghosts, their snipe ability should be enough.
Yeah. Oh, Lingbane Raptor trying to contest that planetary. Looks like it will be able to finish. So immediately the defensive positioning of the Terran player has just increased by quite a little bit. Another hatch kill. Look at that. This sort of kill squad of Marauders is able to do a lot of building damage.
Yeah, a lot of these hatcheries going down to these kind of either drops or run-bys. Just a couple of Marines and Marauders too, so not like too heavily committed. And Dream just keeping Armani's base in check. However, you know, Armani still has those Broodlords, but he's not making use of them. He's kind of like massing enough, or trying to get a critical mass of Broodlords, because, you know, a decent amount of doors and ghosts can deal with, you know, a chunk of Broodlords, but if you can get that critical mass where, you know,
yeah,
it's really hard for the doors to get underneath the Broodlords as well as the ghosts, because there's just so many Broodlings shooting out.
Right. Oh man, how many Broodlords is that, speaking of? That is 17, so that is more than enough to take care of the space, especially because the Terran is not actually, the armies are not actually in position to defend that planetary. So this is that critical mass that you were talking about. The Infestors are going to feel comfortable enough to move on forward as well. Again, this sort of run by, you know, this double drop taking down the northernmost base of the Zerg as well. But these Infestors, these Broodlords are going to start shooting out their little broodling babies, and they're going to start working on this orbital. Oh, look at how quickly the damage is being done. This is like quite amazing to see. Now, speaking of quick damage, we do see a bunch of fungals going down, a bunch of snipes going down as well, but they are not going to be able to complete, as those Infestors are going to prevent them from going off thanks to the damage of those fungals. Is this enough Broodlords to break this amount of Ghosts and Thors? I think it is. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Oh my goodness. Let's see how many Broodlords it has. 8 remaining left. Now, Armani's got to be careful because there's no queens here underneath them to transfuse.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if Dream can just like buy enough time, get the Ghost and door count back up, he can actually clear out the rest of these Broodlords. So it looks like Armani's smartly going to retreat back home for the time being. And going to go ahead and mix in some Vipers, which will definitely help, because you can, what you can do is you can do Blinding Cloud, and that shall, you know, kind of hinder the Thor ability to shoot at the Broodlord. And then also, if you want to, you can abduct the Thors to help you know, kill them faster.
Right. It's a really good point, and I believe a Viper Yoink does also interrupt a Ghost Snipe, I want to say.
Yeah,
although that is risky, because, you know, let's say the Ghost does indeed get yoinked, but it's just gonna do an EMP or something like that. that would be pretty risky. But yeah, Vipers, they definitely do introduce a lot more flexibility into the Zerg's gameplay. Whereas the Infestors, you know, they do have a very, very good set of spells that they can cast, but they are, you know, maybe a little bit limited. So it is never a bad thing to see a Zerg, or, well, for the Zerg to have more than one kind of spellcaster.
Yeah, for sure. Alright, looks like the Queens has finally arrived into the field and will be able to transfuse these broodlords, these injured ones. In the meantime, though, a lot more Thors on the field here for Dream. Let's see how many.
Yeah.
8 broodlords, or sorry, 8 Thors there. 8 Arnold Schwarzeneggers ready to move out.
8 strong men against 8, I don't know, flying, whatever, manta rays or something. But yeah, so, you know, the Zerg, they look like they were just as strong as they were before. But I'm going to be honest with you, Snoopy, Dream looks twice as strong as his last army did. Just from the sheer amount of Thors alone. And also from the number of ghosts. You know, it's very well equipped to deal with broodlords.
Yeah, he has built a very decent army to counter what Armani has. Oh, can't these flames get it? Oh, just barely.
Oh, no way, look at that. Yeah, that planetary is gonna survive. Oh, that's so cute. The hatch is blocking the command center.
Yeah.
It looks like one of my team games, except the difference is we're not teammates. Okay, once again, Broodlords on the hunt, on the prowl. They're going to start working on that planetary Thors. Over in the back, they are going to see this planetary does get canceled. Command center gets lifted up. But really, I would love to see Armani just spread a little bit more creep, right? Creep, it gives the Zerg so much more presence. If only it were above the ramp, then I think that this would be a lot easier for Armani to contest.
Yeah, and you know, the more creep you have, the more areas where you can maybe throw down a wall of spines and spores or something like that, so it could help further facilitate the broodlords in disguise. But here we go, a bunch of units, a bunch of attacks going across the map, and a bunch of the majority of Armani's army is here onto the left side. So I think it looks like his 2 hatches might actually fall down.
Yeah, those hatches are under fire by Blue Flame Hellions as well as those Marines. At the same time, that is a stupid amount of broodlings. So it's not going to be able to allow the Thors to push up and towards the broodlords, at least for the time being. But like you said, the 2 hatches are going to get taken care of. And honestly, the Zerg's gas tank is starting to run a little bit thin. Now, we do see some snipes going down. Oh, the broodlords are not actually firing. Maybe a little bit of a mistake, I can't really tell. The Vipers are going to do some blinding clouds, but it's a little bit late. A bunch of those broodlords are going to get sniped, and they're going to get shot out of the sky. Queens are going to try their best to transfuse, but look at that. Oh my gosh, Dream is going to pull those. He's going to he's going to drop those Thors over in the front with a hot pickup, but that is just not enough. I mean, the Zerg is just getting steamrolled. Wow, that is a huge supply drop. I think that Dream took a fantastic engagement, and he might actually take this game as well.
Yeah, that was just a really terrible fight there for Armani. A bunch of his banelings were onto the right side, trying to take care of those attacks by the Hellbats and the Marines, but his Queens were all at the backside, not transfusing those broodlords as well. So a bunch of those broodlords that could have been saved actually were not saved. And the Queens, when they finally did start transfusing, like, it was a little bit too late. There's only a couple of broodlords left, and Armani gonna go ahead and dip a lot in terms of the supply. And Dream looking to secure his spot in GSL as he is up 1-0, and I think he is looking pretty good.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now, he doesn't have a big bank, but you have to look at the Zerg side of things as well. The Zerg has no gas, and what are you gonna do? You can't just print 200 lings and expect it to win against this kind of army. That is simply not gonna happen. So I think that, you know, best case, the Zerg buys a little bit more time for themselves, but it is not looking too good for them. Oh, look at that. Oh, so many Baneling snipes. Oh man, this is just not going well. Oh.
Poor banelings. My goodness.
Yeah. Like, their entire livelihood is to go out on their own terms, but they can't really do that in this case.
Yeah.
Oh man, what a decisive engagement. Like you said, Armani, I mean, I have trouble keeping up with fights that fast, but it really did look like it was, you know, very one-sided.
Yeah, that was definitely one-sided. I mean, Dream, I think he does really well in terms of those big engagements because his micro is so good. And Armani, he just did a little bit of blunder, but in this game, in that big, huge a fight, if you do a blunder like that, you know, it's quite difficult to climb yourself back into the game, especially when the Terran is sitting on pretty much 1 billion bases. He's taken almost his side of the entirety of his map, while Armani, he's still struggling on the resources camp, as like you mentioned, no bank to speak of.
Yeah. The soup does not lie, and what the soup is saying is that Dream is way, way ahead. Oh, more snipes. Look at that. Just rubbing salt in the wound. GG is called. Dream is going to take this series.